This video is about rune purification. There are two aspects regarding rune purification. One is about purifying for rune stats. The other aspect is unique runes. I made a video about rune stats before, and I've updated the graph for the rune stats to include some new heroes, as well as my new understanding of the game. So what I said in the old video, it is not outdated. If you want to know the reasoning behind why certain rune stats are best for certain heroes, you can check out that video. But now, I've realized that purifying for rune stats is not the most important thing all the time. So I think purifying for unique runes can also be very impactful. So it actually depends on the faction synergy of your heroes. The unique runes for Celestial, Demons, and Shadow Arc units are extremely impactful. But the unique runes for non-bearing heroes are just okay, and the one for Verdian unit are just not that good. So it's not worth going for the unique runes for the Verdian heroes unless you have too much purifying materials that you can't use. So for Celestial, when equipped by divine heroes, and when allies trigger Purify, there's a 50% chance to apply Enfeebles, unable to receive buffs on all enemies for 1 round. So basically, when you purify debuffs from your units, you will simultaneously apply an effect that prevent enemies from getting buffs. So as we know, 2 Celestial effect is whenever an ally dies, it purifies all debuffs from allies and dispel all buffs from enemies. And if you have unique runes, enemy won't be able to receive new buffs for 1 round. So what's interesting is that it's when you trigger purifies, you apply Enfeeble. So what my initial understanding is, like, when you remove buffs from enemies, then you apply an effect that make enemies unable to get new buffs. But it turns out it's when you purify debuffs from your allies, then you apply Enfeeble to prevent enemies from receiving buffs. That's just I feel like that's like two unrelated thing, and so make it hard to understand. But anyway, since the 2 Celestial is purify as well as dispel buff from enemies, so it doesn't really matter. And there are also some other units that can trigger Purify, such as Lillian Lila. This one's the most popular one. So her ultimate skill not only grants buffs, it also has 100% chance to purify up to 2 debuffs on all your allies. So this will sometimes, if your team has someone with unique divine exclusive rune, and you also have Lillian Lila, when she casts this ultimate, you will apply Enfeeble to enemies. So yeah, it will prevent enemies from getting buffs. And buff in this context means it means the Holy Shield from the 2 Demon synergy as well as Chaos Blade. It includes Holy Shield, and it also includes the attack boost that's really important for the Glorian synergy. So the unique Celestial Rune is actually really important in PvP. So it's the most important. It's one of the things where if you have it, you will be better than your enemies. Let's say you have someone, you have like the player you are challenging is at similar power level, and if you have this, you will be able to beat them. Yeah, so that's the Celestial unique rune for the divine heroes. As for the demon exclusive rune, it converts excess healing you gained from leeching into attack, so up to 100% of the equipped unit's original attack. So leeching in this game is like lifesteal. So when you deal your units deal damage, like some amount, some percentage of the damage dealt is converted into attack. And since the demon heroes, like, they inherently will grant lechery to all your units, so it's very easy to trigger this effect. And so leeching is the damage dealt is converted into attack, and the unique demon exclusive rune will convert some excess healings you gained by leeching into attack again. So your units will like gain more attack if they are constant. So the wasted healing they gain because they are at full health will convert it into attack. So if the fight is long enough and they didn't take a lot of damage, they will eventually just increase their attack by 100%. So that is pretty good, and it will help you especially in those boss fight where you don't have much problem like surviving, but you are struggling to deal enough damage. Okay, so that's for the demon unique exclusive rune. These names are hard to pronounce. Eclipse unique runes grant your heroes attack whenever they trigger dodge. For these reasons, it's generally recommended to have unique Eclipse dodge rune, because more dodge means more damage. And for unique runes, the all four runes has to be like dodge. They have to be the same because the unique runes effect only active if you have four unique runes of the same time. So if like for example my Mavis is 2 unique dodge and 2 unique DPS, then she won't get the unique runes effect. So all four runes has to be the same type. So people have been debating whether Mavis should have 4 DPS or 4 dodge. I have 4 DPS as you can see, but in my opinion Mavis should have 4 dodge. So the reasoning for 4 DPS is you want Mavis to die faster, because when she dies, she triggers her last word effect to deal damage equal to her ultimate damage to all enemies, and that's really impactful. So you want Mavis to die faster. But I think dodge is better for Mavis because it will make your Mavis die slower, but since she will be dodging more, her attack will be higher, and that will means that her damage when she dies will be higher, so her death is gonna be less quick and less frequent, but it's gonna be more impactful. So I would recommend for if you are going for unique exclusive rune for Mavis, for unique dodge it's gonna be better than for unique DPS. But since I already have 4 unique DPS and I don't have the enough materials to purify them into 4 unique dodge, then so I'm keeping it this way for now. If you already have one, don't don't stress about purifying for the other because it's not that much of a difference and there's some merit for both. But if you are choosing and hesitating, then I would recommend for unique dodge. Yeah. And oh, another thing about why dodge is good is because as a Avengers, Mavis will convert dodge into attack, so her attack will be like even higher. Unique Empire exclusive runes give a 25% chance to stun enemies with basic attack. This one isn't as impactful as the 3 runes I just mentioned, because the probability isn't that high and is ineffective against enemy with control immunity, such as Glorian and some bosses, as well as some later stages in the Rift Odyssey game mode. Unique Verdian runes are even worse because it can only trigger if you have Verdian Synergy activated, but Verdian Synergy is really bad, so it's not worth activating a weak synergy for a weak unique rune effect. As for the Supreme runes, these are the ones with a yellow dot on the top right. They are just a more powerful version of unique runes. They follow the same pattern as unique runes, so like Supreme Celestial runes and Supreme Demon and Supreme Eclipse runes are all like good, and for Supreme Verdian are bad. But it's generally really hard to get Supreme runes because it's not that big of an upgrade from unique runes. So I don't recommend stressing too much about Supreme runes.